Hi, I'm John Waterhouse. Welcome to the original science of mind as taught by Dr. Barbara Waterhouse. Barbara's doing a great job of explaining the principles that we learn from the science of mind. And she's working from that original textbook that was published in 1926 by Ernest Holmes. And the class is fantastic, so I'm glad you've joined for it tonight. So let's not waste any time. I'll see you again at the end of class, but right now it's time for Barbara.
We always begin with a spiritual mind treatment, so I invite you to take a breath. Let it out. Please continue to breathe. But let go of anything that you may have brought in. Any stress, any worry, any concern, any angst. Just take another deep breath. And let it go. And now that we are present, our work is in consciousness, and it is to know. And so we know that there is a power and a presence, a love, a life, a light that is in and through all things. It is greater than thing, greater than space, greater than that which can be known, and yet it is those things. And so we know that whatever it is all and all. And we know that we are created out of that one something, that one spirit, that one life, that one light, that one love. We are a manifestation in form of the divine. And because of that, whatever it is, we are. And so we take a minute and we just breathe that in. That we are spiritual beings, we are divine beings of light and love, and all is well. We have infinite possibility within us. The power that we wield to create is immense. And we know for ourselves, especially this night, that our bodies are in absolute health and wholeness. There is nothing to change, nothing to get. There is only that one truth to be revealed. That which we already are, perfect, whole, and complete. And so we know that whatever we need to know, we know. Whatever we need to learn, we learn. Whatever we need to experience, we experience. And our lives are better for the process. So with great gratitude for everything that we gain in this class, we simply release this treatment into the mind of God, the body of God, the heart of God, because it's all God. As together we say,
and so it is.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I love this chapter of the textbook. I love this chapter of the textbook because it's talking about healing. It's talking about physical healing, and that's what this teaching was based on. When it started back with Christian Science and Mary Baker Eddy and Emma Curtis Hopkins and people like that, it was about physical healings, that there were people who were sick and there was nothing the doctors could do. They did not have antibiotics. They had no idea how to stem the tuberculosis epidemic in this country. If someone got a cut and got tetanus, they were gone. And so, I don't know if I told you or not, but one of the things that Ernest started with was treating, when he was a park employee in Ventura County, California, and he was working with the kids on the playground. You know, he was like the ball guy, and the guy that ran the little office and all of that. And he would treat for their warts because they were embarrassed that their hands were all, you know, cleanliness was not great in that time. And so he would do spiritual mind treatment work on them, and their warts would disappear overnight. And so this teaching began with the idea of physical health. And I love this part of the textbook because I think that we've watered it all down. And we've gotten into a lot of process work and a lot of emotional healing, which is great. But with that comes the idea that you're not going to have your physical healing until you've done these certain things. Have you done enough forgiveness to have your back burden gone? Have you embraced your power to have enough money? Are you open enough to have your finances work? That kind of thing. And so as a teaching, I think that we've really just kind of pulled back. And in one section of the lesson, lesson 3, Ernest talks about that, where he says that it does not matter if the person that you're treating for believes what you're treating for. And once we get that conversation or that debate will come to an end. And what he was referring to was the idea that if you go to a practitioner and have spiritual mind treatment work done and it doesn't manifest the way that everyone had assumed it was going to manifest, it's not uncommon for the practitioner then to say, well, you must not be ready, you must not be open to it enough, you must not have let go of enough, and that's a crock, because truth known demonstrates. Now, it's perfectly fine with me if you go ahead and get sick next year, but if I treat for you, you're going to be healthy right now. And so I love this chapter because the whole textbook, and if you were here yesterday, that's what Jamie and I were talking about. He said, I don't really understand the Science of Mind textbook. And I said, that's because you're reading the wrong one. You're reading the wrong one first. You're reading that revised one, and it doesn't really make any sense. If you go with the original one, it all starts in a logical order of argument. And so we come into this chapter, and he's saying that everything is in health and wholeness, and that there's nothing that you have to change or get or be different to experience that state of health. You're not being healed. There is no healing involved. There is an inherent truth within each and every person that is the spiritual truth of you, and that truth is that you are healthy now. And it is the job of the one doing the spiritual mind treatment, whether you're treating for someone else or yourself, to be able to grasp that idea that even in the midst of green snot, or a diagnosis, or an x-ray, or genetic predisposition, whatever, even in the midst of that, there is a health and wholeness that is present right now. And I love that about this teaching. And it's not airy-fairy. The healing or the health demonstrates, and you can see it. The person is not sick anymore. You're not sick anymore. Where's Bob? Bob Horn's not in the room. But when he just fell off a curb into a road and had a bunch of breaks and had everyone treating for him, he healed in half the time. Now some would say, well, why do you need half the time? I'm not going to nitpick. When you know health and wholeness, it manifests, and it's not world peace, and it's not a better attitude. It's actually right there. It's like money. I love it. It's either there or it isn't. There's no question. And when it's there, you can see it, you can feel it, you experience that. And for me, it's a real barometer that we can use to develop our faith, so that we can say, there is no reality in sickness. Illness is neither person, place, nor thing. It has no place in my life. It is not real. And that's why some people call us crazy. But I'd rather be crazy with you than sane with them. So illness has no place in my life. It is not real, and I'm going to stay with this until I can get a sense of something else. Until I can get a sense of a different reality, a different experience. And yes, there may be pain, but I'm going to set it aside. Yes, there may be symptoms, but I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to go to a different place where I know that everything in my physical body is in absolute health. And when you do that, things heal. And it's not that they take 10 days to heal. They heal just like that. My sister Margaret, who was living in Fort Myers like 20 years ago, maybe more, maybe it was 30 years ago, she was diagnosed with a tumor in her uterus. And so she went to the hospital, and it was causing all kinds of trouble, and they were going to cut it out. And she had just started going to a Science of Mind Center in Fort Myers, and her minister came to see her and said, well, we've waited for it to go away, and it doesn't seem to be happening. Since they're going to take it out anyway, why don't you go ahead and put whatever it is you don't want in it and just let the doctors carry it away. And so they treated, and they treated for her health, and they treated for her wholeness once again, and that there was only healthy tissue there. And they took the x-ray the night before to be ready. She went down to the operating room, they opened her up, and there was no tumor.
Wow.
It's gone in one night, overnight, hours, gone. I love this chapter because it talks about the inherent perfection in us and in life. That when we turn away from the condition and focus upon, it manifests. And we can use it and translate it into finances and prosperity. We can translate it into success or anything that we want to. Once we get this idea of what it's like to live in two worlds, to turn away from the one that is experiencing limitation of any kind, and to fully immerse ourselves into that spiritual truth that never changes. And one of the things that I love about that is that you don't have to do anything to get it. You don't have to pay money. You don't have to go and get a diploma. You don't have to go to a 10-day silent intensive. You don't have to do anything. There's nothing inherent within you that needs to be changed before you can have that expression of health and wholeness. It's all about going to that place in mind. Going to that place that says, I'm not sick, I'm healthy. And I love what Ernest says about illness. He says that illness must have intelligence to bring it to life. That there has to be intelligence for illness to be alive. Otherwise, once the body died, it could get sick. You could have epidemics in the graveyard. It does, it makes sense in a weird way, it makes sense. It takes us in our body to have an illness. And if it takes us in our body to have an illness, it is us in our body that brings ourselves back into alignment with absolute health and wholeness. And I think that the way that that manifests in the outer, that is an easy example, is with stem cells. That there is this idea that there's a cell in our body that will turn itself into anything that our body needs. That we have these parts of us that will grow new livers, fix kidneys, regrow pancreases, change our levels, do whatever it is, and that's something that people can look at and see. But what is it that is the spiritual idea behind that stem cell? It is that there is something within each and every one of us that knows what to do to bring our bodies back into alignment in that perfect state of health that we are meant to be. And it doesn't matter how bad you are, how far gone somebody is. If they're not dead yet, they can have a reoccurrence of healing, a return to health. The health that never left, that we only cover it up with a cloak. And how do we do that? Why do we do that? Remember the circle. All about the circle. Remember the circle. In here we have subjective, S-U-B-J-E-C-T-I-E. And we have race, what? Consciousness. So we have race consciousness, and that can be what we heard on the news. You know, it's a Theraflu ad. Oh my God, it's flu season. Oh my God, people are getting sick left and right. Into my subjective. Or when I was a child and people said, well, what did they tell me? They told me I was allergic to the night air. So while all of the other children were out playing, I had to go inside and sit there. And this wild child, you know, to have to sit still every night and not be able to go run and play and scream and all of that, that was like the ultimate punishment. But I had that go into me. Well, there's something wrong with me. There's something different. I can't do what other people can do. Or if you just want to open it up to the whole thought of the race, things of there's illness out there, there's things that can hurt you, there are things that will, take you down, that kind of thing, and it all goes into our subjective mind. And so when we're doing that, we begin to manifest, because whatever is going from conscious through subjective ends up where? In body and form, yes. So it starts to manifest in our bodies. So, okay, well, at a certain age, you're going to have to look at getting your knees fixed. At a certain age, you're going to have to do this or do that. At a certain age, you're going to have to blah, 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 blah. And that goes into our subjective. And as it goes into our subjective and we begin to manifest it, then we look at that manifestation and go, oh yeah, I kind of knew that was coming. It came because we knew it was coming. So as we look at how we work, what are some of the things that we might have done to set ourselves up to get sick? Has anybody ever intentionally gotten sick? Yeah. Anybody ever just want a day off and you just went ahead and got sick? Yeah, thank you for your honesty, Michaela. I have done that. I have done that. And at other times, I've started to get sick and just didn't intentionally create the whole thing, but I just didn't fight it. Oh, gosh. I know this feeling. I'm probably going to be out for 3 or 4 days. So I welcome it into my experience and then I get sick. Whereas other times I am, oh no you don't. I do not have time to get sick. I have no desire to get sick. That is not happening. We are not getting sick. I am healthy. I am strong. My immune system is so strong and so powerful that it wipes out anything that may be a hint of any kind of virus or bacteria in my body. This is not happening. I have other things to do. And then I don't get sick because I look at it and say no. I turn away from that condition and usually just forget it at that moment and go off and do whatever it is I need to do because that's what I need to do. Yes?
When I was in college, during the final exam weeks, under the stress of studying and all this other stuff, I'd be fine, but as soon as my last exam was done, I'd get sick.
Sure, because now you could get sick almost as your reward. Gina.
I just seriously in this moment just had a gobsmack.
Oh, your God smacks you.
Yeah, occasionally. So I have had this hip pain now since July. Incredible hip pain that's kind of debilitating. In my right hip, I broke my right hip when I was 12. I went through physical therapy, the whole 9 yards, years and years and all that, and they told me at 12, in 20 years, you're going to have arthritis so bad it's going to be debilitating. I turned 32 in June. And I just got it. Like just in this moment when you said that, I just got why that's happening.
That was planted in your subjective mind. It took 20 years to come into form because you always remember everything and know everything pop into form in your head.
Yeah.
So what do you do with that?
Now I'm going to make it go away.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
Because it has no business in your body.
None.
You are not a statistic. You are certainly not normal.
I love being abnormal.
You are a being of light and love.
Yeah.
Yes. Arlene Bump, the minister in Fort Lauderdale, had debilitating rheumatoid arthritis, and that was her healing that got her into this teaching. One of our people that we've spoken about sporadically, Willard Fuller, the tooth healer who's passed on, had debilitating rheumatoid arthritis all through his body, and he went out into the woods and said, I'm not going to live this way. Either heal me or take me. I'm not going anywhere till one of the two things happen. And when he got that healing, he came out of it with the gift of healing in his hands. So I personally know people who have just been healed just like that of arthritis. Arthritis is a buildup of some kind of energy in our body. And you don't have to keep the energy, and as you let go of that energy and transform it, then the arthritis goes away. And it can either be a process or it can be instantaneous. I've seen it both ways. But you do not have to keep that, and what a wonderful awareness you have. Good for you. Isn't it great that you came to class tonight?
Incredible, thank
You
you.
usually work on Monday nights.
I do.
Yes, yes, but you were here tonight by divine appointment.
Absolutely.
So we have this idea that says that you're perfect. And that even though conditions in your life appear to be imperfect, that there is a perfection inherent within you that cannot be denied. Who was here yesterday? You're perfect. You're golden. I love that song because it doesn't mean, you know, as soon as you finish your community service hours, as soon as you have the bankruptcy taken off of your credit report, as soon as you make amends for all of your wrongs. No, none of that stuff. As soon as you lose or gain or whatever, you are perfect right now. And there was a feeling in the room when he sang that song that we got it. You are perfect. Right. I remember that. I remember that I'm perfect. And yet we look at the circumstances in our lives and then we judge them as imperfect, and that is the whole dance of Science of Mind. I love that this teaching is focused on physical perfection because that's something that I hold very high. And you know, my grandmother was a Christian Scientist. She actually was one of the singers. She sang soprano and in that day and age was only allowed to sing in a church where decent women sing. You know, she had an offer to go on to New York and sing, and absolutely not. But she ended up singing in the First Church of Christ Science in Boston with Mary Baker Eddy. And I believe that that is reincarnated in me a bit, my grandmother, because I do so believe that we can look at someone who is demonstrating physical illness and they can have that return to health right then. Right then, no process, no, well, I'll treat that after the surgery, that blah, blah, blah. No, no, you are healthy and whole right now. And I think if we all had a little bit more guts to be able to speak that out and to claim it and to put it out there, we would see more physical demonstrations. More physical demonstrations by being able to just look at people and say, you are absolutely perfect, whole, and complete right here and right now. Every doctor knows it. Every test shows it. There is no process. It has happened already, right here, right now. I claim that. I call that forth. I speak my word as the word of God into form, claiming the truth that already exists in you right here and right now. It's not me. And it's not going out and getting something and trying to shove health into you. Every single one of us has a state of divine health and wholeness right here and right now. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we've had, what it's been called, how many doctors have said that that's so. It just doesn't matter. If we need an organ regrown, we can regrow that organ. If we need something to change, we can change that in our bodies right now. And I love that about this lesson on physical health. Because once you get that you do not have to be hooked by the world of appearance, that you do not have to be duped simply because you see it or somebody else saw it, that you can go somewhere else and be there. Once you get that, and you have the ability to live in those two worlds, you can demonstrate anything. You can look at a bounce check and you can say, no, I live in an abundant universe. There is always more than enough for all. I am part of the richness of life itself. And I don't care what's going on in banks or checks or people or any of that. That doesn't touch me. There's a spiritual reality to me that is absolutely prosperous and whole right here and right now. And that is who I am. And that manifests. And once you can look at something that is like pain, which really tries to get our attention, and say, no, I am not at effect of what someone else might have said or what some other people might have thought. I am perfect, whole, and complete. You can regrow a whole new hip. You know, you can do that. And I love that medicine is catching on. The old study, they did 3 different knee surgeries. One, they worked on the cartilage inside of the knee, and they scraped it, and they fixed it, and all of that. And the other one, I forget what the other one was, but the last one, they made the incision and stitched it up. They didn't do anything. But the people thought that they had had their knees fixed. Those people's knees were just as good as the people that had had the whole big to-do done. And it was such a revelation. Oh my God, all we did was cut the skin and put the big stitches in it. So they thought they had had the surgery. They didn't have the surgery. They just thought that they had had the surgery. You know, a lot of the drugs that are out there and people are taking, I think that it's all the placebo effect. That it's not the drug that they're taking, it's the idea of the drug that they're taking. Sherry.
So, my dad has had some challenges with memory, and some of you may know that he broke his hip recently, and he had to repair it, they did the partial hip replacement. But because he's having some challenges with his memory, he doesn't remember falling. And he doesn't remember that he had the surgery. So therefore, he's not having pain. Extra strength Tylenol. They took him off the Oxycontin. He's like, yeah, he's not having pain. Well, there's some benefit to this dementia thing, I guess, for him in this case. But yeah, it's interesting.
It's in our head. And then there are some people who have a little tiny something and they make such a big deal out of it, and it's so much pain and so much drama and trauma and all of that. It's all in our heads. All in our heads. Any other questions or comments? So the dance that we do in all of Science of Mind is the difference between truth and fact. And what we want to do is we want to leave the world of fact, which is the world of effects. And go to the world of cause. Facts always change. Truth never changes. So a truth might be that love is the only reality. We sing that every Sunday. There is only love. And the fact may be that we are experiencing something not like love. Like either someone's upset with us, or we feel upset back, or we feel afraid, or there's something other than a sense of just love. But the fact comes and goes. And this is a good time to get a little biblical, where it says over and over again, and it came to pass. It did not come to stay. Facts change. The world down here, which is part of the space-time continuum, always changes. Remember we talked about the molecules in the table flashing in and out between a particle and a wave and a particle and a wave, and our reality is here, and then it's just gone. And then the reality is here, and then it's just gone. And that is happening over and over and over again. The world of effects changes, but that which is true never changes. So what are some ideas that you might look at as things that change? Health. Health changes? Does health change?
No.
No, not the inner health.
Well,
Oh,
good and bad
perception
health.
of health.
Yeah, our perception of it, yeah.
So perception. So if you have a perception of health that's bad, what might that be?
Say you broke your leg, or you got sick, or,
Sick.
you know.
Let's just do sick.
Okay.
Okay. What else? What changes in your life? Michaela. 4, 3, 2, okay. Think, get your answer before you raise your hand next time, okay? I'll call on you. Who had their hand up over here? Nobody. Okay, yes, Betty.
Our bodies change as we age.
Our bodies change
Bank accounts.
Bank accounts,
Relationships.
Belief systems.
beliefs.
Thank goodness, right?
I missed one person.
Judith had her hand.
No, feelings, thank you. That's good enough.
How about moods?
We put it under feelings.
Other feelings.
So what doesn't change? A state of health, health and wholeness. Do you have an answer?
Joy.
Joy, okay. Health. Joy.
Prosperity.
Prosperity. Now, prosperity doesn't necessarily mean how much money you have.
Abundance.
Don't misunderstand that. That, haven't you noticed you get a certain amount of money one day and then the next day you go, where did that money go? That's money. That's in the world of effect. Prosperity is something that never changes. What else?
Life.
Life. Even though if your body goes, you're still alive. Otherwise, there would be epidemics in the graveyard. Yeah. And in relationships, have you had relationships where one day it's really great and another day you're signing papers? What doesn't change? Love. So, that's good enough for now. What we want to do is master the art of leaving the world of the facts and moving to the world of the truth. And in doing that, we change the cause to our effects. If we have a sense of joy, how is that going to affect our life? Positively. I think it's in Basic Ideas of Science of Mind. Ernest talks about the depression and all of the people that were fired when the depression hit, and there were studies done. They were not fired because of money. They were fired because of bad attitudes. People didn't like them. People didn't want to work with them. So here it is, the depression has hit, the bottom has fallen out, everybody's, a lot of people are broke, and you're screwing up your job by having a bad attitude. So if a bad attitude can mess up your life, a good attitude can do what?
Improve it.
Can improve it. People want to be in business with people who have a good attitude. I've been in places where someone's trying to sell me something with a bad attitude. I might have bought the thing, but I didn't want to buy it from them.
Right.
And, give me a kid's lemonade stand on the side of the road and I'll end up dropping $10 in their little bucket. Because they, not their product is awful. They have that sense of joy and newness and excitement that I want to be around. So, if we have a sense of joy, our relationships, I guarantee you, will be better. If you look at what's wrong with your partner, you will only get what you think is wrong with them. And then they'll go and be with someone else and they won't have that wrong with them anymore. It's taken me 3 marriages to learn that. When I see something limiting in someone, they are limiting to me. They don't have to be limiting to someone else. Someone else sees them as this fantastic person, and that's what they become. So if you look at your partner, and that can be your significant other, it can be a family member, it can be your kids, it can be the people that you work with, it can be, your partner checking you out at the grocery store, whatever. If you look at them with joy, you're going to get a better relationship out of that. What happens if you look at your finances with joy? They get better. Practice having a relationship with money. Personally, I'm old school. I like the cash. I like it. I like the way it smells. I like the way it feels. I like to have some with me. I like to keep it close. You know, I like to spend it. Personally, I like to flash $100 bills. I like to use $100 bills as bookmarks now. It's great. It's great. You know, if you can't do 100, do $1. Get a nice one. The bank tellers will exchange and give you a nice, say it's for a present. It is. It's a present to you. Have a relationship with money. Love money. Feel good about money. Don't go talking behind its back. Don't go dissing it, or it'll leave you, and you'll be signing papers.
Probably one of the most significant things that happened for me in terms of feeling good about money was back when we used to write checks to pay our bills. I would hold the checks, you know, to Consolidated Edison, the power company in New York, all the bills, and write thank you on them, and just take time to think about the fact that, wow, I have this agreement. They let me buy all this stuff on this plastic card, and I get to pay them back, but wow, that's a pretty good deal.
We have electricity. If you've
Yeah.
ever spent much time without it, it's a good thing to be grateful for.
Once I got into that attitude, things really turned around.
Right.
Just,
Because we are vibrational beings, there is a whole reality that if you can tune into it, you could have. It has you being just healthy to the point where you jump out of bed in the morning after you do your today's a happy day, today's the best day ever, whatever meditation you may want to be doing. You jump out of bed and you're excited and you're full and you feel great and you glow and you my sister Margaret coined a term called youthening. Not euthanizing. Youthening. How are you? I'm youthening. I'm youthening. I'm getting younger and younger and younger. I'm stronger, I'm healthier, I'm more alive than I've ever been. I'm at the top of my game, I'm feeling great. That's what joy will bring you. That's what vibrating at that level will bring you. There's a life that is waiting for you to get there, where you have more money than you know what to do with, that you have fantastic relationships with probably the same exact people that you're struggling with right now, where life is just an amazing experience, and it's up to us to get out of this world of sick bodies and bank accounts and beliefs, relationships and feeling, and move into this world of health and joy and prosperity, life and love. It's about us being able to discipline ourselves enough to come away from that huge pressure of race consciousness and the universal subjective as is filtered through us, where there are plagues and wars and death and not enough and lack of limitation. And if you want to go there, you can get sucked in right away. If you want to look for injustice, you will find it. Or you can pull yourself away and get a different life. A life where there is more than enough, where there is joy, where there is peace, where there is happiness. Back to the Bible just a little bit. You know, everybody goes through the valley of the shadow of death. It's not the valley of death, it's a shadow. The valley of the shadow of death. They go through it, but they don't stay. However long it takes you to get through it, that's up to you. You can go through very quickly by turning away from that and moving into the light. Or you can, you know, set up your tent or build a condo and invite all of your friends to live there with you. It's totally up to you. So to say, well, I should never have to go through this, the only reason that's happening is because you've allowed yourself to get sucked into other consciousness that says life is hard, life is a struggle, and there's not enough to go around, and sure enough, you're so powerful, that's what you will demonstrate. But if you can pull yourself back from that and force yourself to focus on being happy, I know it takes a lot out of you. Force yourself to be grateful, to be happy, to be able to focus on what is working right in your life instead of what is working wrong, then you will build that and you will grow that. And when you do that, you get to live in that divine state of health and wholeness that, the way I see it, it's right here just waiting for you, saying, come on, let go of all that other stuff that's keeping you held down, Move into a sense that everything is fine, everything is great, and watch how it starts to show up. I love the beginning of this lesson. It says, Science of Mind is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not a scheme, but it does state certain laws and principles, and that if you follow those, your life will get better, and better, and better, and better, and better. And it's all about being able to move into this idea that says, I'm perfect. And I'm perfect just the way that I am. One of the things he talks about is that you can't get where you're trying to go from somewhere else. And why would I want to pretend I'm somewhere else? What, so I can impress the people around me because I'm embarrassed about where I am? He says you've got to start where you are. If I want to go from here to the door, I cannot start at the water fountain because I'm not there. I must start where I am. And for me, that has a sense of self-acceptance with it. And so if I want to have a physical healing and I feel terrible, start where I am. Illness has no person, place, nor thing. It has no place in my life. I feel myself moving with ease and grace. I can't get out of this chair. I feel myself moving with ease and grace. Every cell in my body is a divine cell filled with health and wholeness. Start where I am and begin to build on that, and build on that, and be happy and grateful for the changes that occur. Speak your word into the law. Claim that which is rightfully yours. I got my my license tag out of this lesson. He says, if you want to have more, you must first become more. And I have had a Be More license tag for over 30 years. Mine looks so ratty that when I got my new car a couple of months ago, the tag agency said, why don't you let us make you a new one of those? So I got a new one coming in the mail sometime. But we have to become more. We have to be able to embrace that other reality of us. And can you get it? Can you get it that when Gina said that the hip thing that she's been demonstrating has to do with a voice from when she was 12, and then immediately she was separated from that. That who she is today is not a 12-year-old with someone whispering in her ear. Can you get that there is something about you that is different from the life that you're now living? Something that is more open and happier and more joy-filled and more prosperous and more loving and is just more. You're going to be more. Can you get that you are not limited by your circumstances, by the facts in your life, by the conditions in your life, but that there is something that is greater than all of those things? Can you feel that? Mm-hmm. That's the key. That's the key. If you can look at something that appears to be limited and see that there's a possibility in there. If you can look at something that appears to be a curse and get that there's a blessing in that, then you can have that. And a lot of times it's said, well, if I claim that there's a blessing in it, I put that blessing in it, and then I get that blessing out. I would say no, the blessing was in there all the time. All you have to do is see it. All you have to do is notice it. You don't have to make yourself healthy. You don't have to put the blessing in life. It's already there. Our job is just to open up to the awareness that that reality is here. Pardon me?
What if?
What if? John, brilliant. What if? What if I wasn't sick? What if my body really was healthy? You know, the medical students, just like you were saying, the medical students that come down with everything under the sun. And they're real symptoms. They're sick. There's no basis for it. It's totally psychosomatic. But then maybe everything is psychosomatic. Maybe everything is psychosomatic. Maybe every morning when we awaken, we decide how we're going to feel. People say, well, I didn't think that thought. I didn't think that particular thought, and I'll give you that. But you sure thought a lot around that. You sure came close. well, you know, if I do this, I'm gonna get worn out. The whole thing about self-care, forgive me. You are not fragile. Just living life doesn't wipe you out. If you tell yourself that it will, putting in an 8 or 10 hour day does not exhaust you. Only you exhaust you. But if you say, oh gosh, I've worked so hard this week, I just don't know if I can make it to Saturday where I can stay in my pajamas all day and just sit still and just catch my breath, then that's what kind of a body you're going to create. Or if it's, I am training for a marathon, I'm gonna do the color run and they're gonna shoot all that color powder, it's gonna be in my lungs for years. I'm gonna do the color run, or I'm gonna do the marathon, or I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go hiking, or I'm gonna go dancing, or I'm gonna live life. Then the body goes, okay, we did the 8 to 10 hours of work and now it's time to go live life. It's all in our head, it's all psychosomatic. We see it in teenagers, go mow the grass, oh I can't. Been in school all week, what are you asking of me? Hey, you wanna go play basketball? You bet, let's go. Right. Just like that, just like that, just like that, it's all in our head. It's all in our head and what we tell ourselves. So what we have to do is practice getting out of the world that we don't want to live in and move into the one that we do want to live in, and to be able to have the courage to stand up, even if it's into the mirror, and say, I am speaking the word of God right here and right now, and I claim for me now, or I claim for you now, perfect health in every way. And whatever needs to manifest, that manifests now. Whatever muscle, bone, tissue, organ, system needs to heal and come back to its original God state of health and wholeness, that's what happens now. And the amazing thing is people get healed. People have amazing physical changes. I mentioned Willard Fuller. He was such a character. He was an ex-Baptist minister. And he was really tall. Anybody knew Willard? Anybody here anymore? Did you, Susan?
I met him.
Big, tall guy, white long hair, white beard. And he would line people up and touch their faces. And he's a Baptist minister, so he did a Baptist blessing. He would say, in the name of Jesus, be thou every whit whole. And it was kind of like communion. You just file by hundreds of people. In the name of Jesus, be thou every whit whole. In the name of Jesus, be thou every whit whole. And when I was the minister in Miami, we had him, that's where I met him, and there was a woman in front of the group who had a space between her teeth big enough to put your finger. And we watched it close. In front of our very eyes. There was a young woman named Jackie, and she had had railroad track braces on for 4 years, and she was in her 20s, had just gone back to the orthodontist, and they said, this isn't really doing what we wanted, it's going to be, another few years, we're going to have to keep these on. And we watched the bones in her face move. She went back to the dentist the next day, they took them all off. She didn't stop crying for months. Just to have the courage to put it out there, what you believe, to claim it, and then to watch how it manifests is so big to me. And that's what this teaching was founded on. That's what divine science and Christian science and religious science and unity and all of that was founded on insisting that the unseen becomes seen. That the unreal, which is the illness, be cast out, and demanding that that state of the divine show up. And people had healings. One after another, after another, after another, documented healings. And so I love the passion in this lesson. And I want to make sure that I at least throw it out there. Whether you catch it or not is up to you, but I want to throw it out there so that you can be able to look at someone and to know the truth about them. And as you know the truth, truth known demonstrates instantly. Instantly. There's no time involved. And I think that we've given ourselves a little bit of a hedge by saying, well, it's coming, it's demonstrating, it's gonna show up, you just hang in there, kiddo. No, it's true now, or it never is. And to be able to stand there and say, that is true now. People come up to me and go, I have such and such. I go, no, you don't. Oh, she's so cold. I'm amazingly loving and supportive that I won't jump in the mud with you. I will see you as above that. Someone wanted to put, forgive me if you're in the room, I'm going to talk about you anyway. Someone wanted to put push a button and the doors open, because we have a couple of people who at one time were on walkers and now one person's on crutches. And I said, absolutely not. Those people are perfectly capable of doing what they want to do. Do not see them as someone who needs to push a button to get out the door. Absolutely not. When they told us we had to have handicap spaces out there when we were building, I said, why? If someone comes in and they're in a wheelchair, we're just going to heal them.
What did they say that?
Insulted. So we have little handicap signs out there. But nobody's handicapped.
Sundays only.
Nobody's less. Pardon me?
Does anyone bark at them?
I park in them all the time.
I do.
That's where I park. It's right by the door. You can have carry stuff in. Let's take a break. I love you guys.
Now, wasn't that wonderful? Thank you so much for coming and being a part of this class. Thank you for supporting our ministry in the way you do. If you are not supporting our ministry and would like to make a financial donation, you can do that at our website, cslasheville.org. And we're going to keep doing this class, and it's going to continue to be very revealing for all of us. So again, thank you for being here. And the way we always open and close our classes is with a spiritual mind treatment. So I invite you to join me in knowing the truth that there is a presence and a power that dwells in, through, and as all of us. It is right where we are. Wherever that is, whenever that is, God is in the midst of it. And knowing that that power is exactly where we are powerful. And that we are able to use that understanding of that power to create meaningful, loving, delightful experiences on planet Earth. So as we've completed this particular course, or this particular class in the course on the original science of mind, I know that we are all blessed by what we've learned, and that we move forward into whatever is next in our day and in our night, and continue being aware of that divine presence that we are, and living from that presence, and certain that this is so, grateful that it is so. And with all the love that there is, we simply let this be the truth, now and always. And so it is. Have a fantastic week. We'll see you again soon.